So I just got done watching Equal Measures, and what did I tell you about Cheetor? This episode was originally titled Cheetor Invents Teleportation, and all I got was this stupid bomb. This one involves a lot of moving parts. It's a little hard to follow at times. So we have a bomb that they want to plant in the Predacon base, and they don't want to destroy the Predacons themselves. Well, Primal doesn't. He actually wants to just disable them. I don't know why you're disabling them if you're ultimately trying to beat them, unless he's going for capture. I assume that's literally the only option here. And then Dinobot just wants to slag the entire group. All right. And I mean that by the Beast Wars definition, not the British definition. That would be a very different video. This one is pretty much dependent on everyone being super impatient. The other element of the plot is survey posts, and apparently it is so important to get these survey posts set up that Cheetor wants to outrun a big, massive lightning storm in order to plant them. And a lightning storm that is apparently super destructive. I don't know if that's because of the energon on the planet or what, but for whatever reason, this is an apocalyptic storm that is happening on the planet, and they're just kind of rolling with it like it's normal because hey, it's not Earth, right, guys? So you can have storms like this that damage mountains with lightning. Look, it's a weird world, okay? It's full of alien tech and energon. Just roll with it and let's pretend that it works. The episode itself, it's another Cheetor screws up episode, but in this case, he manages to plant all of these survey posts along the exact same vein of energon, which turns out to run between the Maximal base and the Predacon base. Somehow, every post he ends up on that vein, and when lightning hits it, it creates a teleportation system that connects the comm system on one base to the comm system on another, which is massively convenient, I feel. Okay. So it's a cartoon about shape-changing robots from an alien world, and it's a time travel story as well, happening in the ancient past. And I'm nitpicking about how this seems a little far-fetched. That should tell you something about my mindset in this episode. It just seems super convenient that something so weird. It feels like they came up with a premise and then tried to figure out how do we actually what device do we need to create in order for this to actually play out correctly, and that was what they went with. So it feels forced. It feels a little bit too much. There's a couple of characters in here that we can point out. For starters, pterosaur actually speaks. We're 4 episodes in and we finally get a line out of pterosaur that isn't terrorize. Oh, I'm sorry. Terrorize! Or however he says it. I can't even come close. My vocal cords aren't designed for it. And we find out he's essentially Starscream. The second he finds out that... So for some reason, he gets this idea because Dinobot didn't immediately scrap him that they can form an alliance to take over the Maximals and then take over the Predacons. That was his idea. He believes, and I completely believe he believes himself to be that powerful. Dinobot being the linchpin that's actually going to overcome 4 other Maximals. It's a 2-on-4 situation, and he thinks they got this. And then he thinks they're going to have it again when it goes against the Predacons. Even though Dinobot wasn't much of a match for Megatron Megatron and Scorponok rather, when that first went down. Also, don't try to form an alliance with somebody who's already tried to take over your crew before. That's probably not going to go your way. Yeah, but Pterosaur turns out to essentially be Starscream. He is very power hungry and very eager to take control of the Predacons, and he will take any opportunity he can to do it, even if it is a foolish one. And he seems far more foolish than Starscream ever was. Rather than picking his spots when he has the most advantage, he will literally take any opportunity. And here it came back to bite him almost immediately in one of the first real slapstick moments of the show. We literally had to get him flushed out of the ship. It's rather funny. The other character we can focus on here is Dinobot, who was really like the antagonist of the episode, which is so weird to see, like looking back at the series. This is still very early on where he was still like very power hungry himself. You know, we know, like this is only a couple episodes removed from him trying to take over the Predacons and trying to take over the Maximals. What we see here is him so eager to kill him off Megatron, he's willing to manipulate Cheetor and put him in a dangerous situation. He's willing to manipulate pterosaur, which, okay, fine, he's an enemy and an idiot. And he's also willing to manipulate Primal by lying about Cheetor's death and using that to convince him they need to bomb the Predacons. He's devious in this episode. Like, there's a lot of machinations going on just to make this mission work. And again, all of this, the entire episode hinges on everyone just not having any patience. If they'd waited for the storm to pass, then Cheetor could have just planted the survey post like it was nothing and no harm, no foul. They could have done the bomb thing the way they originally planned, and I'm not sure how they planned to get a bomb into the Predacon ship in the first place without a magic teleporter in being involved in the situation. But that was the plan at one point, and all they had to do was wait out the storm, and that would have been fine. It did present an interesting, dynamic at the very end where Cheetor actually has to, momentarily negotiate, because they're all in the same boat. Because if one explosion goes off at the Predacon base, it's going to set off the Energon vein and blow up the Maximal base, too. Alright, so we have a brief moment of everyone has to get along. Very brief. But that never comes up again. They never establish that the vein was cut off at any point after this episode, and there's massive explosions at both bases for the rest of the series. So, who knows? Kind of forgot about this one in the long-term canon. Which also kind of hurts this episode in the long run. Also, just to very quickly add to this, Dinobot figures out really fast what happened with the teleporter and all the survey posts and everything. Shockingly fast. Conveniently fast, even. I'm giving it a passable rating. I do think there's too many plot contrivances going on here in order for me to really call it, enjoyable. It's still fine. It's still a fine episode. It's still fine. It just takes me out of it a little bit to see a few different, it takes me out of it to see just how many weird things have to go on between the impatience of the general cast, the randomness of a teleporter system being created, the convenience of Cheetor planting everything perfectly to make it happen. There's just a little bit too much here. I think the situation just got a little bit too convoluted. The most interesting thing here is Dinobot being so antagonistic and actually seeing Pterosaur really show his character for the first time. But that is my take on the 4th episode of Beast Wars. Join me tomorrow where we find out just how power-hungry Dinobot still is, because he's not done trying to capture leadership. So, I hope I will see you tomorrow. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.